A lot of folks are building outdoor projects that are doomed to failure because there's so much misinformation online. It's a big problem because you don't want to invest a lot of time and money into something thinking that it's going to last, only to have it fall apart in a year or so because you followed bad advice. In this video, I'll give you some no-nonsense tips for building projects that will live outdoors, many of which I learned the hard way over the years, including what's the best wood to use and what's the best wood finish to apply so your projects will last. First, let's talk about the wood, then we'll talk about the wood finishes. In a perfect world, you'd make everything from redwood and teak. But if you're watching this video, I'm betting you're shopping at a local home center and you're on a budget. So let's focus on the types of wood that are readily available in most home centers. First is treated lumber. This is typically a softwood like pine that's been infused with chemicals to slow decay. It's not a bad choice for decks and other large structures, but I wouldn't recommend treated lumber for benches and tables and chairs because by its very nature, it's wet and unstable. As it dries, you can almost guarantee it's going to warp if it's not held fast to a robust frame, such as when you're building a deck. And the chemicals inside are not intended for regular skin contact or anything related to serving food. Untreated construction lumber, such as fir and yellow pine, are slightly better choices if it's relatively dry. I've seen pine furniture last for years if it's properly taken care of. That means keeping it well sealed, especially if it will be in contact with the ground. We'll talk more about that shortly. Cedar is also readily available, and it has some natural resistance to decay. It comes in different varieties, so the type you use on your outdoor project will likely be determined by the availability in your area. Western red cedar is pretty common where I live. The downside of cedar is it's pretty soft. As it gets banged up just from normal use, the finish on top can crack and then water can get through. So I recommend a natural oil finish for cedar, but we'll talk more about that in a minute. If you want something that will really take a beating, you might consider white oak. Unlike red oak, white oak contains compounds that reduce its ability to absorb moisture. It's not as rot resistant as cedar, but it was good enough for shipbuilding, so I'd say it's good enough to whatever your backyard is going to throw at it. Other hardwoods, such as red oak and ash, can be used outdoors, but you really have to protect it well with a good finish that will limit the amount of water it absorbs. And that brings us to a frustrating fact about outdoor furniture, but one you have to accept if you don't want to waste a lot of time and money. You can either build it with relatively inexpensive materials and then just let it sit and plan on replacing it in a few years, or you can use better materials and try to extend its life by applying a good finish and carefully maintaining it. Despite what some claim, there is no wood finish that you can apply just one time and expect it to protect your furniture from the weather indefinitely. That's because while rain and snow are bad for furniture, your worst enemy is UV light from the sun. It will eat up the wood and the finish. Ultimately, it's sort of a losing battle, so the goal isn't to preserve a project indefinitely as much as it is to fight the elements for as long as you can. The best bet is to just keep it in the shade. If you can limit the exposure to sunlight, then you might have a fighting chance. You might also use a marine spar urethane that has a UV inhibitor. Spar urethanes are used on boats, which are obviously exposed to a lot of sun and water. But don't let the label fool you. Direct sunlight will eventually cause all film finishes to crack and peel, and once they do, you'll have to completely remove the old stuff before you can refinish the project, and that's going to take a lot of work. So you have to decide whether the extra protection from these urethanes is worth the extra maintenance. And remember what I said about softwoods like cedar. A urethane creates a shell. If that shell is cracked because the wood beneath is easily banged up, water can get in. So you have to keep a close eye on it. Another solution is to use a natural oil finish, such as a tung oil. Tung oil won't give you nearly as much protection because it is absorbed into the fibers rather than building up a shell, but it is easier to maintain. You simply apply another coat or two every few months. No need to strip off the old stuff. So while you may have to apply it more often, the application will be a lot easier. Natural penetrating oil won't fight moisture as well as film or shell-like urethane finishes, But when you pair them with rot-resistant wood, such as cedar or white oak, your protection can last a long time. And since there's no shell to crack, it's a better choice for softwoods. Unfortunately, no clear finish will stop the sun from bleaching the wood or turning it gray. It's simply going to happen. If that bothers you, then you might consider a finish with a pigment, such as a deck stain. Pigments not only color the wood, but they also help block the UV rays. Just be prepared to pressure wash and reapply it every year, or it too will start to peel and discolor. Frankly, the best finish for an outdoor project is good old-fashioned paint, oil-based if possible. Let it soak into the wood, especially wherever there's exposed end grain. Paint will provide the best protection from both sun and moisture, and it's easy to inspect and recoat to maintain the protection over time. When directly exposed to the elements, a painted project will outlast any other finish out there. So are you sensing a theme? It's a battle of attrition, and Mother Nature will eventually win. The question is, how much of a fight do you want to put up? If it's a simple 2x4 project, maybe just paint it. If it's a cedar project, maybe just put on some natural oil. If it's an expensive hardwood project, maybe a spar urethane is worth the extra maintenance. And that's the key to all of these options, maintenance. Be prepared to inspect and touch up any project every few months so that you can stay ahead of Mother Nature. Now here's something else you'll find interesting.
It's just a couple of cuts. Your ears will be fine, right? They will be if you have your IsoTunes Bluetooth earbuds in, because you'd already have your ANSI certified hearing protection on because you're listening to your favorite music and podcasts. And you're supporting a small family business at the same time. Please use the link below this video to learn more and to show them you support what we do as well.